Twisted Tales.
Twisted Tales, Twisted Tales, blood and bones and untold trails. Twisted Tales, true got teeth and drags and nails. Urban riding, back road sin, dead men talking through the wind.
Good evening, everybody. This is Jeremy, and welcome to another episode of Twisted Tales. Before I bring in my special guest this evening, I'd like to talk about a couple of things real quick. On the first thing I would like to talk about is the recent passing of our dear friend and Wicked Wednesdays family member, Shane McLean. You know, he was a great guy, and we will always have him as a member of our family, both in the All Access Network as well as on the Wicked Wednesdays as well. So, Shane, can't wait to, celebrate your whole thing tomorrow evening, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Please come on the network and check it out, everybody. It's going to be a lovely evening. And also, I'd like to talk about the upcoming Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention, September 12th and 13th. Yours truly will be there representing Twisted Tales as well as the All Access Network and Wicked Wednesdays. I'm going to have a booth there. Please stop by, say hello. If you're interested in being on the show, please come on in. Love to actually get a chance to talk to everybody. So without further ado, I would like to bring on this young lady. She is a photographer. She is a urban explorer, paranormal investigator, Miss Alyson Jacobson. Come on in.
Hello.
Hey, Alyson, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good yourself?
Just another beautiful day, and thankfully summer is starting to wean down a little bit because it wasn't as horribly stuffy as it has been recently.
Oh, yeah. Definitely noticed that today. Not so humid. I was like, oh, this is nice. I could deal with this all the time.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. Working in a hospital all day long and then going outside, and it's like, oh, God, some of these days have been so horrible. Your skin wants to melt off. It is definitely not a fun time at all,
No.
So I'd like to say thank you for being on with us this evening. I know that, so you've been doing photography for quite a long time?
Yes, I have. Actually first started back in high school. I took photography as an elective class all 4 years throughout high school. So I got to really know like the basics and the all the like technical aspects of the DSLR cameras. And then when I graduated high school, I kind of like got away from doing it for a while. But then when I kind of like was like, I managed to find myself like seeing people doing all this urban exploring online, and I found a group of friends that I started going with, and then I started realizing that, hey, I can actually go back to doing my photography while doing this. It's a different subject because I used to do a bunch of landscape photography and animals, stuff like that. So it's like to go and start doing this like urban exploring, the decay and natural decay, and obviously some vandalism on some of these places, but just being able to take the photos and like pretty much essentially like preserve the history of the places. Because every time you go back to a place, it's different than the first time you were there, no matter how many days or weeks or months you take from going to a place.
Oh, I agree with you. It's pretty cool. So when you first got involved in photography, what made you actually want to concentrate on photography? Like what drew you to it so much?
What drew me to it is that it was a different way to be artistic without having to actually like be like someone who draws. And you could still be creative and artistic that way, because I've never been one that can really actually like draw or take like what I could see and like draw it out. But I managed to realize that I could see a vision that I wanted a certain shot to be, and sometimes you'd have to put yourself in a certain angle or be back so far, and just to get like that perfect shot, and then that satisfaction of like I got that shot that I was looking for. And then back in high school, there was a couple different art galleries that I got asked to be in. And I did pretty well with like placing wise. So it kind of was like that boost of confidence that was like, all right, I'm doing good with this, and keep going with it.
That is awesome. So your original focus was on nature and landscaping photography. That's correct, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of like being able to paint without having a paintbrush, because your camera is actually your easel and you can actually get things exactly the way you want. Did you experience a lot of like was it the natural energy of the landscapes and the nature that made you want to focus on that as your original focus in photography?
Yeah, because I've always been like very drawn to nature and wanting to be outdoors and just exploring the world pretty much, and then being able to like incorporate photography to like actually save these memories of places. Because even if it was a simple picture of like a certain like flower you found somewhere that you don't normally find in your house, you just have that memory of like, oh, I was at this place when I took the picture of this, or I was there. Like there's been a couple of like waterfalls that I've found in New Hampshire that I haven't been to recently, but whenever I see them, I'm like, oh, I remember where I was on that, and it was just so nice, peaceful. I can remember like the walk down that I would do to, like on the rocks to find that perfect angle from the bottom of the waterfall. And it's just sometimes like being able to reminisce on some of those good memories of even just being by myself doing it. It's nice.
That's pretty cool. I wish I could tell you that I could take pictures, but when I grew up as a kid, we had them old Polaroid things, and you snap it, and the little thing would, hey, Jeremy, how you doing? You would take the picture, and it would snap out the bottom. You sit there shaking it like a bucket, trying to get the thing to actually show a picture. Oh my God, some of those, it was just god awful. And I'm like, I've never been the photographer. I've been used to being in pictures plenty of times. It's just being the actual photographer. I'm like, I'm going to leave that to those who actually have a better eye for that, because it's definitely, you have to have a certain eye for photography. It's like, I mean, nowadays anybody can take out their digital camera or their little smartphone devices and take pictures, but it's not the same thing as actually like putting yourself into your work. I don't think.
Yeah, yeah, because like honestly, a lot of like my photos that I end up like fully posting, they don't look like, and like they are the photo I took off, but I will go in and I'll like do certain adjustments to like the white balance and the aperture of it, and I'll then like add some sharpness to it, or if I need to add more texture, clarity, like etc. I'll play around with it and pretty much like do this like color grading so that I get it to like that perfect like shade and shadows and all that I'm looking for, and then I'll finally post it. So it's like, yeah, sometimes some people may think you're just taking a photo, and it's like, oh, she only took a couple seconds. It's not how much it took me to take the photo. It's what afterwards when I'm on the backside of everything, editing it before I post it. How when you actually take a lot more time on the photos.
And I can totally understand where you're coming from with that to a degree, because at the hospital that I work at, they have a wall that has they sometimes they focus on painters, or sometimes they focus on people who do like it's like a mini gallery that they get to put their artwork up on and display, possibly sell it. I don't know. I guess it all depends on the person, And I see this stuff. I'm like, wow, you guys can capture in a moment what people just see in a blink of an eye, and then you have a permanent, it's a permanent record of a hummingbird in midair, or a fox chasing a rabbit, or a beautiful sunset over a lake where you get the reflection coming off the water. To me, it's an amazing art in and amongst itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And like on that aspect about like the sunset that you're saying, I had that happen to me. I flew into Florida to go see my grandparents, and my mom picked me up at the airport because she was already there. As we were leaving the airport, I happened to look out the window and I saw the sunset, so I have to just pull over to the next like pull off. Well, there's this perfect like two palm trees that went up side by side, but they did the perfect black silhouette against the sunset. And I snapped that picture, and I was like, that's like the best like Florida like vibe photo you could take, especially right after landing.
Especially, I mean, that is true. Unless you can look in the water and you catch the manatees floating around in certain parts of Florida, because I've seen that. I'm like, I wish I was able to take pictures, because these things in their natural environment are quite beautiful. So when you were after you said you took a break after you were done doing the nature thing, what made you decide to transition into urbex photography, or urban exploring photography?
So there was a um a person that I used to hang out with and talk to, and they were actually really into doing all the urbex and all that. And I would go a couple of times with them, and at first I didn't really realize what we were doing. But then after, like, because we would go at night, so and we're like with the regular size flashlights, so you could barely see what's in front of you, let alone it just being in like a little small lit up circle area. And he's all like, "Oh, this is cool, that's cool," and I'm like, "All right, whatever." Like, and then I finally went again during the day, and I could actually just see the difference in how like a lot of these, like, I do a lot more like hospitals and asylums when I do those places. I'm not really one that goes into like the abandoned houses. I find my I find it more interesting to do like the old asylums and hospitals because they have surprisingly still a lot of the old medical equipment in there, like the restraint chairs or like autopsy tables. Like, I know when you find the morgue in the basement, they still have like the morgues in some of these. Like, it's just like that, like almost like as if everything just stopped, but we still have that chance to go back and take the photos of it.
Wow,
But
that's
not everyone wants to go into those places, which I totally understand. I've been a lot more safe about it with the job I have now because I just don't want to get in any trouble and not be able to have the job because I like my job.
exactly, and so you've been doing urbexing for a while. Urbex photography. Tell me about some of your favorite places that you've actually been to, and with doing urbex photography.
One of them that happens to be my extra part of the background I have. It's down in Connecticut, and I absolutely love this place. It just has at least 10 buildings. One of the buildings is actually like it was actually National like Museum of Science, like part of the campus. And like you would go in there, you would see Museum of History paperwork, books. There was a room that used to be all like rocks and gemstones and crystals. And then upstairs, you end up stumbling upon a room that had all these like taxidermy birds in it. And
Oh
so it was
wow!
just like when you kind of come into a room and you find something like that, you're like, all right, what am I gonna find next?
Oh
And then like they have a main hospital building on the and then which I know I sent you the picture of it, but the cart that's in the tunnel area and it moves
yeah,
around because people will push it around. But that I've never actually been able to officially find what it's actually called. Still, all these years, it's one of those open-ended mysteries. But I pretty much like the way it looks. It almost looks like essentially like a body cart because it's in the tunnels. It would make sense for them when a patient like would pass away. They're trying to move it to get it out of the building, and it's just like you find wheelchairs, you find other restraint chairs. I found like a cage mask that like they would put over the patient's faces and then be able to and have them restrained. And it's just like some of it like it's sad too because you're like someone actually like had to deal with it, but it's also kind of this like morbidly cool because you're like I would have never been able to see that if I didn't come here.
that's true. Sometimes sometimes the curiosity kills the cat kind of thing. Actually, is a true statement, and I I've never done urbexing myself. I don't know. I know that if I did it, I'd be the one asshole that goes in and would actually get caught. So I'm like, I definitely would not want to do that. That's
I've been caught once in Rhode Island. I don't do really anything in Rhode Island anymore just because I learned my lesson with them and I got off fairly easy, all things considering. They ended up dismissing the case once I actually went in front of a judge. I did community service and then they dismissed the case, but for them to like not want to push further with it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that as my blessing. Take that as my one get out of free. Don't do it again.
yeah,
Be more smart about it. And that was like kind of almost that wake up call too of like, okay, I can't be going to like because I was with like 6 people that day. I don't
yeah,
talk to any of the other people I was with anymore. But after that, I'm like, won't go with a big group. I'll go with like 1 or 2 other people. But I have to also be like trust them that I know they're not gonna be like the ones that are like making a big noise or making sure we got spotted on the way in because half of us there's on this place it was a hotel and they had a fence around the outside and there was a hole in the fence that you would go through that hole to get in. Well, I noticed this bunch of shrubs, so I said to everyone, "We'll go through the hole in the fence, but get down between the shrubs." And hi, Jason. Uh, and we'll like get below the shrubs so you stay out of view. The first three of us, we went in, no problem. We got inside. Next thing I look and I watched the last three of them, they just ran right in. They didn't even duck. And I was just like, and it was one of those like you're kind of hoping that when they did it, they were smart and didn't get caught.
Right.
So we started going around and we're doing our thing. I'm taking photos, and then a couple of the people I was with, they have their own YouTube channel, so I thought they were getting their YouTube stuff up and like doing audio tests. Well, when I said to them, I was like, "Oh, you guys already took your stuff out?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" And that's when I turned and I saw the cop walking in the door. We all came in, and I was just like, "Oh no." we all kind of separated. We were gonna kind of like hope we could wait them out, but then they ended up bringing in the canines. And once the canines, I was like, "Yep, I'm done." Like,
No, I don't blame you. I find it amazing, and I don't blame anybody for wanting to urbex. There are so many abandoned buildings these days, not just historical ones, but just in general. Everywhere
yeah,
you go, there are properties that haven't had people in them for a while, and the temptation to actually want to go in and explore some of these roached out, quote unquote, roached out buildings, and even ones from a time gone by, even more recent ones. I mean, I see videos on YouTube all the time, people going into like abandoned Chuck E. Cheese's and abandoned arcades and especially abandoned malls. Abandoned malls seem to be like an urbex explorer's dream come true.
oh yeah,
Because there's so many access points. And I don't blame you for wanting to do that because it's cool to look at. I just know my luck, I'd either fall down and get hurt, or my luck, I don't know. It's just definitely.
it's definitely a risk to take on them. I actually had one. I was doing police headquarters, and I went by myself one week, and there was a section that it kind of just like something told me, "Hey, don't go down that way." Well,
It is, Morgan. It is.
and so I didn't end up go.
When Canine becomes involved, it's time to say I'm out. Hello. Well, when it comes to urbexing, there are so many other dangers. Homeless folks, addicts. I agree, especially even like asbestos. Some places the asbestos
Oh yeah,
and other agents in the walls, because some of these places use like horsehair like plaster to put the walls together. It's amazing. It truly is, and I give you credit for doing it. I couldn't do it, but I definitely give you credit. So when you were doing pictures of nature versus when you were doing pictures of urbex, did you feel like definitely a different shift in the energies when you were doing it between the two? Because I know that definitely like the energy has a lot to do with the proper pictures and stuff like that. So
yeah. I honestly started like feeling myself like more drawn to like the abandoned places. It just like it just kind of almost felt like okay, I found what it's me, like what I want to do, like what's kind of calling me for the photography aspect of it. And like yeah, there's so many dangers on it. There's a lot of times that I won't even go like to a place unless I know like there's a gentleman with me, like let alone just being a female
yeah,
guy with me, just for safety reasons, all that obviously.
yep,
Thankfully, cross my fingers. I haven't had really any issues on any of the places I've gone to, but it's also because like I'm just, like very cautious of it. I don't want to be. I don't like going to the spots that they call hot because I know that they're being watched or that there's stuff going down. So it's just one of those like I know just from all the Facebook groups and the friends that I've made through Urbex that we all kind of have like we'll talk with each other, let each other know, hey, this spot's not good to go to. Hey, this spot, this just happened here, or so and so just got busted here. Don't go here for a while.
yeah.
And it's just kind of, but we all like it is a big community, just like how the paranormal community with and they kind of separate, but they also kind of coincide a lot too, because these abandoned places are where some of my first paranormal experiences have happened.
Well, yeah, and I figured we would definitely. Oh wait, and they said, but my investigator said, "I does she ever fear getting arrested for trespassing? Because a lot of these abandoned places, is properly noted by signs and such.
I've dealt with it once, Nathan, down in Rhode Island. I learned my lesson, and now I go. I'm doing these places. I try to get. I like, especially with being on a paranormal team. We
Mhm.
got places that like they're not abandoned necessarily, but like they're open for investigations. So it's
Yep.
like I'll go with the team and be able to like go to the places that I wanted to go to before. Like that's how I even ended up being able to go to Waverly Hills. The paranormal team I'm on, Paranormal Investigators of New England. We did a big group team
Yeah.
investigation when we went out to Waverly Hills in Kentucky.
Oh yeah. So you know what? Let's talk about the transition. Oh wait, I'm not done it yet, but isn't getting arrested part of the fun? Well, I mean, I guess if you're into that kind of thing, everybody likes to get fingerprinted once in a while. We can finger paint the fingerprinting dust or something like that.
Oh, honestly, the thing that made me laugh the most about it was I was in a tank top, kind of like what I'm kind of somewhat wearing now, so you could see my tattoos. And the officer's filling out the paperwork up, and he doesn't look up, and he just says to me, "So any tattoos?" And I couldn't help but just start laughing at that point. Like I just could not stop. I'm like, dude, all you had to do was look up, and you'd see I'm covered in tattoos.
Yeah, no, that's true. So, when did you decide to dip your hands into the paranormal? Because I see that you're part of a team called Paranormal Investigators of New England. When did your dive into the paranormal start?
It kind of like always started like as like a kid because when I was growing up and getting old enough, and my father was adamant about it, he was like, "You get into a certain age, you can't be watching cartoons all the time." He's like, "Time to start finding like non-cartoon shows." So there's been I started honestly actually first got into watching wrestling WWE, but at the same time I ended up scrolling through and then I found Ghost Hunters, and I was like, so watching the two, and I was like, I like this, like, and that's what I ended up like drawing to, and here I am all these years later, still I'm in the paranormal. I still watch wrestling every now and then, bring
Yeah,
my nephew to events, but like to be the team that we're on, we're we're actually a part of the TAPS family. So it's really cool to be like to say that I'm like able to be part of the TAPS family. I've been able to meet Jason. So growing up, being able to watch him on Ghost Hunters and kind of like look up to them, and then to be part of their family now, it's like it's rewarding.
that's cool. So, when did you have your very? Oh wait, Courage a Cowardly Dog. That damn Return of the Slab episode. Oh, I love Coward. I love Courage a Cowardly Dog. Oh my god. When did you have your very first paranormal experience, like spirit interaction or?
So it was one of the very first times that I was doing the urban exploring. There's a old tuberculosis hospital up in near my area, and I was in the basement, and I because I had a big light by that point because I was starting to get into the urbex, and I know like shining through that basement that there was nobody down there from at least what I could see, and like halfway through the basement it cut off from concrete to dirt, and in the dirt area like you heard something get like thrown, and then but I also was like was it was weird because I was like feeling like drawn to that area, and by the time like I got close enough to hearing the rock being thrown, the people I was with was like calling me to come back up, and so I start turning to go up the stairs, and I had something like whispered dark in my ear, but I couldn't make out what it sounded, and that just like sent the chill down your spine. I was just like, "Yep, I'm out. I'm ready to go now." But then
Wow.
at the same time, I was like, I kind of want to know what that was.
Then you know what? Sometimes you'll never know what it is because if it wants to be seen or it wants to be in contact with you, it'll do that. Sometimes, have you ever had it where a spirit or anything has messed with your camera when you were trying to take pictures or anything like that?
I have quite a few times. Um,
Hey, Jeff.
there's been quite a few times that like all of a sudden like and I know I'd have a full charged battery that I'd be like 5, 10 photos if that in. and then all of a sudden the battery is completely like drained, and I'm reaching for one of my other batteries, and then they're not working, and I'm like, I know all my batteries are charged before I left. But then you'll end up like leaving the location or taking a break, going outside or whatnot, and then it's working fine again.
Yeah, it's they will definitely mess with your equipment because they love batteries and they love to cause problems for sure. So, where was your very first investigation that you did?
Honestly, the Conjuring house.
Good choice. Tell me about that. Tell me about your experiences at the Conjuring House.
Um, so I've had quite a few different ones. I used to at least spend one night a year there before it closed down, which hopefully we can all get back there again soon. But so one of that very first night, you were just kind of like they had like Corey and Jen in the basement of the well room. They had those REM pods set up and like the Ouija board, and we were standing there just kind of asking questions. And certain like ones would randomly go off, and it wasn't really like they were, but they weren't kind of like coincided with what we were asking. But then like we put a regular REM pod in the middle of the room, and whenever we would ask for it to touch, that would start going off. And it was kind of cool to see that back and forth reaction. But then I actually that night I slept up in the room that has the double windows that overlook the field, the
Yes,
main
yes.
bedroom. I woke up to the black shadow like mist over me, and it like almost felt like I was being choked.
Oof.
And I mean, it felt like it lasted a lot longer than it actually probably did. But once I got up and I went out of the house, I was perfectly fine.
Well, they are very the spirits are very territorial inside that house, and it's you have to watch yourself. I actually one evening I remember being there, and I actually saw someone fall down the staircase
Oh wow.
towards towards the front of the house. Like, yeah, those windy staircases going down.
Oh yeah.
She she was perfectly fine and like lost her footing and went right down the staircase. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no, yeah, there wasn't anything wrong with that. No, of course there was, and seen plenty of shadow figures in that place. That place was
Oh
loaded
yeah.
full. I mean, the thing that is amazing about that place is that it sits on a giant underground lake. If you I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but there's definitely
Yes.
that's where the majority of the actual natural energy from that place comes from. Is there's actually an underground lake that sits there, and there's all sorts of energies there between normal human spirits and elementals, and I've definitely seen my fair share. So that place is definitely
And
cool.
the people I was with on that first night we actually had like the spirit box. We were asking questions, and it kind of actually helped direct us to finding the cemetery out in the woods.
Oh yes, the cemetery. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's as soon as it felt like as soon as you walked in that cemetery, it just was such a heavy presence.
Oof. Yeah, I can still feel like we had an insane moment in the library section that has all the books on the walls, and the lights just started going off and on like crazy one night when we were sitting in there, and it was like a light show going on, and nobody was touching any of the light switches. So it was definitely it was a fun evening for sure.
Oh
I've
yeah.
I've been there in the dead of winter. I've been there in the summertime, and it never ever disappointed. If
Oh, I
if
agree with that.
you know, so I know Gwen has some pictures. I wanted to start bringing in pictures one at a time. We'll talk about them and the locations. Gwen, if you could put the first picture up for us. Ah, yes. You were talking to me about this earlier. Tell me about this particular picture.
So this picture has been one that I have taken from many different angles. I've been able to move that a few times to others, like into the room where that light's coming from. But this one here is just one of my most favorite shots I've taken of it, because you can see the slight blue of the actual color of what the um, pretty much the cart is. But you can also see the hinges that it would like fold over and unfold, but it also just like looks like a regular wheelchair.
Yeah.
And it's just like that dark, eerie hallway. The lighting just worked great, especially with having some of the lighter coming through the doorways behind it. And it just went nice. It worked out, and it was one of those once I took the photo and I edited it, I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
That is pretty cool. Now, it has a really weird presence about it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
I'm always like drawn to finding that whenever I go to this location. I've never not been able to find it when I go.
and this is definitely one of your more favorite locations to go to. That's for sure. You know.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So Gwen, what's the next picture we got on deck there? Hey, tell me about this one.
Hey, this one, a lot of people actually know this place. It's Norwich State Hospital. It's one of the rooms there. I didn't really have anything happen in this room, but just the photo, it like having the chair, the ironing board, it made it look like what a normal like room would be for someone being it like there. But I actually helped at Norwich with them cleaning up and getting ready for Destination Fear to go there and film. So, and that place, the amount of times I've been there, I've had plenty of different activities happen. I was there alone at one point because everyone, like one of the people had to leave, but they left stuff behind, and I said, "Well, I'm fine with staying here." Well, I did like a whole walk around the inside. I knew that there's nobody there, and I was going down one hallway, and I all of a sudden heard from behind me, running the opposite direction of me, heavy footsteps, and then it's what sounded like keys jingle, and then a door slam. So I turned, went back down that way. There was no door that would have been slammed that I could see. And obviously the keys jingling, that wouldn't make sense. And right where I came from, I just walked from that way. So I know that there was no physical human there.
Right.
It was just like kind of one of those like, all right, like, and then after that, you just kind of felt like you were being watched. So I went outside and just kind of sat outside waiting until other people came. And then later that night, we went to the orphanage building on the property. And then I went into the basement with everyone. And as soon as I was in the basement, I kept feeling like something was like coming and like charging at me. And after so long, I finally just said, you know what, I can't be in here. I'm starting to like feel wicked drained. I'm gonna go upstairs. Well, the caretaker's son was walking up behind me, and on the back of my arm, he saw a scratch form and start bleeding. And he even asked, he was like, "What did you just scratch yourself on?" And I'm like, nothing. I'm like, I just walked up the stairs. You watched me walk up the stairs. What do you mean? What did I scratch myself on? And then right as I'm saying that, I could like feel like the burning of the scratch. So he took a picture and showed me, and then I was just like, yeah, nope. And you can see it, like it definitely was like one that kind of like curved and went down. Like it was one of those that there was no explanation for getting that scratch.
Yeah. Phantom scratches. That's definitely a paranormal 101 experience. That's for sure. I've had it happen a few times at different locations. Phantom bruising that comes out of nowhere as well is something that I don't find too pleasant, but it's expected.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where you're at. If somebody takes offense to something that you might say, whether or not you meant it like in jest, or you didn't think the spirits were listening to you when you were talking. If you say something that they don't like, they'll let you know. They'll definitely let you know whether they're grabbing at your legs or they're poking you or God only knows what else.
Well, like the caretaker at Norwich said that in the orphanage that there's something there that just did not like females being there. Which, when that happened, she even said that she was like, "All right," she's like, "I guess it don't like you being." And that's what I said. I'm like, "Well, I told you guys. I kept feeling like something was like charging at me, and I just got to a point that I didn't like what I was feeling, so I was on my way out anyway." So
Right.
it pretty much knew what it wanted with me leaving. It didn't scare me out necessarily. It just it got to a point that I was like, all right, I'm feeling drained. I'm gonna get out of here.
It's amazing. So that's in Norwich, and you were talking to me earlier about it when you said that you've been there several times. What other buildings in Norwich have you had like some really amazing activity at?
The Lippitt building is a really big one that they have the lobotomy rooms in there,
Oh
the
God!
X-ray rooms. That just that Lippitt building is the one that I had the keys jingle and the door slam. I've had multiple different Ovilus responses that we would put the Ovilus down the end of the hallway in like the middle of the floor, and then we're at the other end, like close enough that we can read what would come off of it, but
Yeah.
far enough away that none of us are like triggering that Ovilus to go off. And what we were talking about or asking, we would have like the intelligent responses that it was like either finishing or answering what we were actually asking.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You know, I've had good experiences with Ovilus. I've had questionable experiences with the Ovilus. It all depends on where you are, who's using it, and everything that has to go along with it. So, Gwen, with that, what do we have up for our third picture here? Ah, yes. I've only been here one time, and it's an amazing place.
Yes, it is. Ironically enough, when after the night I investigated there, I was on the highway, and all of a sudden my tire light came off that I had a flat tire. And when I got out of the car and looked at the tire, I had a piece of like roadkill animal bone in the sidewall. Like that made absolutely no sense on how I got there, and I wasn't far away from the hotel when this happened. I'm like, the irony of it happening right after an intense night. We had so much happen that night. It was just kind of like creepy, but kind of cool.
Oh, very cool. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about your experiences at the Shanley? Because the Shanley is an amazing place, and I'd like to hear somebody else's accounting of what they had going on with them. So, please, hey, Jeff.
So one of the things that it was later in the night that I ended up doing it, but I was with one of my best friends, Mary Jo Chudley. She was the one actually hosting the investigation that night, and I came up with her. Like I left after working all day, drove out there to join them for the investigation, and her and I were the two that made it all night, didn't go to sleep. But we were in the seance room, and she set up a red light. We had these goggles that like you couldn't really see, and then I had the spirit box on, and like this always like I'll always remember this. I remember seeing a green light all of a sudden forming, and then I could see a gentleman standing with the green light.
Oh, wow.
And when she went and put them on, she could kind of see the green light, but she didn't really she could kind of see the like shadow, but he didn't really show himself as prominent as he showed himself to me. And it was something that like sticks with you after seeing it like the way I did, because there was no way there should have been a green light after with all the red light that was coming at me. Like that green light was completely unexplained or anything like that. And then I know we had a lot of different EVPs go off. We had the tripwires going off, like according to when we were asking it to like set it off. It was a great night.
It really is. Like I said, I've been there one time. The majority of the most profound experiences that I had were up in the Lady of the Evenings section of the place. To be nice about it, the brothel area, or however you want to go about it. The interactions that we had up there were unbelievable, honestly. Like one of those cat ball things, it like rolled across the floor, and there was no like tilt to the floor or anything. It just, it's one of the children just rolled the ball across the floor. We had interactions with a couple of the different ladies that were up in that area. I helped somebody stop an attachment from getting put on them in that particular section too. Yeah. The Shanley is amazing. It looks big from the outside, but it's even bigger on the inside, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like this angle that you don't really see the length of it, but like even just inside, you almost feel like you have like 3 times the amount of space that you see from the outside. It's one of those, like you kind of step into another world.
Well, I love the sky element that you got there
Oh,
with
yeah.
with the clouds and everything, because it gives it a much more stronger presence. Even though you know it has a strong presence, it's like the only thing in that town. It's like
Yeah.
here's a Shanley, and here's the rest of the abandoned town, and there's a ginormous, like, what was it, like a CVS or some sort of
Yeah,
pharmacy
you like
or something like that.
CVS or
I think,
Walgreens.
or no, Walmart. It was a giant
Oh,
Walmart.
yeah.
It's like this little abandoned town area in like the Shanley, and then this humongous Walmart. And it's like, oh my god, talk about a sore thumb. That Walmart sticks out like a sore thumb, no
Oh, yeah.
doubt.
And this photo was taken in the morning after in the investigation, right as we are getting ready to all leave. It was just like kind of like that a good goodbye picture to have of it.
Yes, Jason, I do agree. The Shanley is for sure its own thing. It the building has a personality all its own. All the amazing rooms. You there's no way to truly fall asleep, because even if you do, something comes in and starts grabbing at your feet on the end of the bed. Oh my god, that was enough to keep me awake like all night long. Every time I tried to fall asleep, something would grab my toes. I'm like, what
Oh
on
wow,
earth?
that's crazy.
Yeah, because they put us in, that one room that has like a bunch of beds in it. It's just,
Yeah.
and they put most of the people in there. I remember laying there, and I'm a tall guy, so my feet are hanging on the edge of the bed, and all of a sudden you feel something like grab at your toes, like grab your big toe or touch your feet, and I'm like, yeah, we're not sleeping. We're just not sleeping.
No, I
No,
probably
no.
wouldn't sleep.
I'm gonna lay here with my eyes open, and I don't foresee myself falling asleep. It's just one of those things.
Right.
And so I think we have another picture coming up. Gwen, what do we got? Oh,
This
so
is
tell me
Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
that is amazing. Please talk to me about Waverly Hills. It is on my bucket list. I've never been there, and I would love to hear your stories about Waverly Hills.
Well, it definitely does not disappoint at all. You can go pretty much anywhere in there and you can just feel the heaviness. You can have different equipment go off. Uh, I- it's just like even one of the rooms I was in, you just kept feeling like there was this like something like standing over you or standing in the corner, kind of like peeping out, watching you. And like we were up near the that top area where like there's a children's room and all that, and my teammates had some amazing stuff going on when they were up there, and we all had fun. The death chute was extremely heavy presence. I'm still going like my camera I had going all night for recording didn't end up saving anything that recorded. I don't know
Oh,
if it's because of the memory. I tried to put a different memory card in it before, so it could have been a formatting issue, or it could have been that something there just didn't want me to record.
I'm going to go with the
But
latter. I do I do believe that certain buildings in certain places just don't want any extra evidence of what's going on in them. I mean, spirits are very, private people, just like we are.
yeah,
And being clairvoyant like I am, it's tough because you realize that the spirits that you run into are us. There's just there's no other way around it. It truly is amazing. It really really is. And so when
um,
did you have any shadow activity? Did you happen to catch any shadow activity?
we did actually. We were in. I want to say we were on the third floor. I don't remember what exact room we were in, but there was a handful of us from the team in the room. One of the gentlemen, name is Scott. As he was like taking video and all that and photos, he saw during the flash of me taking photos with my camera, he saw this white shadow woman in front of him. Well, at the same time as that, as I'm taking photos, I have the picture of her shadow down the hallway walking away from the room. And when I came across it, I sent it to him, and I'm like, I know you said you saw a white shadow in front of you, but it was gone as soon as you saw it. I'm like, was this what you saw? And he confirmed that that's what he saw, and it was just kind of cool to be able to be able to say, yeah, we both saw the same thing, and I got it on camera. He physically saw it.
That is super cool. That is super cool. I know there's one more photo, and this place is near and dear to me, and I think we're definitely have an interesting conversation with it. And there she is, the S.K.
Oh, yeah.
Pierce Haunted Victorian Mansion. I will tell you this, and I will definitely want to hear you. This was the place that I had my very first paranormal experience at. Was at the S.K. Pierce back in 2011. So we're talking at least 15 years ago. So please tell me about your experiences at the SK.
So I've had quite a few different experiences. One of the first ones that definitely stuck with me here, we were upstairs on that third floor up in the billiards room,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a photo. It's not a very defined black shadow, but it's like almost like a black mist. We were getting in the hallway, we were getting our REM pods going off. We were getting some of the equipment in the billiards room to go off. And I was sitting against the window, like one of the windows right on the front here. And the top, you kind of like that upper area there. But my teammate Mark was sitting on the floor next to the doorway. And as we were talking about it, I was kind of saying that I thought I saw something by the door. Well, I have, as he's like pointing, like kind of trying to ask, like, oh, in this spot, we have a picture of the black shadow coming from behind the door and then coming around the front of the door, going out into the hallway. And that was one of those like first ones to see that, and I was just like, all right, cool, like that was cool.
Yeah.
And then we went when we went back in June. I went two different times in June. But the first time when we went as like our whole team, my teammate Jason, we were all in the basement in the well room, and he's sitting there with the blue light taking a bunch of photos. And I showed you the photo when we were at Paranormal Truth Seekers
Yeah.
with that big shadow figure, like
Yeah.
with the hand, seeing that in the basement. At the same time, we're having very dark responses on a couple of different pieces of equipment. So like that was an intense moment of that, because seeing the shadow like that, we tried to debunk it. We tried to see if we could recreate the shadow, and there was no recreating that.
No, you know what? That place, I love it. When I first started going there, it was yellow on the outside. It was not restored on the inside. It was pretty raw. You know, it was before Ken and Mimi did all of their amazing work, along with Marion and all the other people, and that did all the work of making it the way that it is today. You know, I remember being in there. There was like one half, there was one bathroom with a pole toilet, or there was, there wasn't any bathrooms up on any of the floors. We slept there one time on an air mattress. Yes, Jason, I agree that the SK Pierce is on another level. It has so many spirits that are in there from so many different timelines. Some know that the other ones are there. I have been scratched. I have been bruised. I have been pushed up against a wall. I'm a big guy, so being pushed up against a wall was really, really strange for me to have happen. And my very first experiences with a shadow figure were in that particular place. So the SK is amazing. Plus, if you go all the way up to the top of that crow's nest thing and you look out, the landscape is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and like the most recent time that I went there, and I ended up sleeping in like the servants' quarters where they have like the children set up in the back room. Well, right before, as I was laying down, I heard a woman scream. Like it was like one of those like murderous like scream, and I knew the other teammates were still investigating. They were down like on this first floor at that point. So I texted them and I was like, "Did one of you guys just like scream or get scared by something? Like everyone all right?" And they didn't hear a thing going on. And when I talked to Marion about it the next morning, she told me she's heard that scream before.
Marion is awesome.
Oh yeah,
And
she is.
I was just there for the spring fair recently, a few months ago, and it was great to be able to walk the hallowed halls of that place again. I miss it all the time, and there's definitely a place that I'll never ever forget my experiences. And one of these days, I'll get back in there. Gwen, thank you for putting those pictures up. I really appreciate it. So, shifting away from the photos, I know recently you did some photography work at Monster Expo with Christy. So tell me about the experience of actually doing photography at an event versus even like a paranormal location and stuff like that.
It's still a learning curve for me because it's not always been like what I've done, but it's kind of nice that I've started focusing more on like those more like candid moments when I'm at the events, like the photos of like the people at the different tables, like or talking, and that you don't realize that like someone's taking the photos. You get like that like true, genuine, like happy like interaction. And then taking like I'll take photos of like the objects people are selling, stuff like that. But I'm more focused on like what's actually going on and the people interacting with everyone. When you have the speakers going in there, taking the photos of them, taking photos showing that like with the crowd, showing that hey, there is people like you got people like audiences like this for it.
Yeah, it's cool because you're actually taking pictures of people and you're getting their natural reactions to you taking their photo or their interactions with the vendors, like you were saying. And there must be a big shift energy wise versus taking pictures of like locations versus in the moment, real time. You don't even know what kind of photo you're going to get because somebody walking by with a costume that you might find intriguing, or somebody has something on a table that you want to make sure you get a picture of because it might not be there 10 minutes from now because somebody might buy it and you might never get the chance to get that picture again. So, did you do both days of the Monster Expo?
No, I only was able to make it to the Sunday of Monster Expo because that Saturday I was actually down in Connecticut at the Paranormal Connecticut's Paracon.
Okay.
So I did two events that weekend. So I kind of also got to Monster Expo a little late just because I was traffic and trying to get up to New Hampshire that day. But
Yeah.
and then when I did, Christina was unable to make it to the Paranormal Truth Seekers. But when I did that, that's why it take me a lot longer on the Truth Seekers photo because I ended up finding myself taking a lot more than I have before. But it was like trying to just get those like last moment photos or the photo. Like yeah, some of them I'm not necessarily going to use all of them, but just trying to snap as many as I can so I can get that like perfect moment.
And that's the most important thing because you're taking pictures all day long, and you know what you're going to catch. You're going to catch, maybe people speaking, or interactions with vendors, or a bunch of us crazy people sitting around a table doing a hot sauce challenge, which I thought was probably the humorous part of the entire day. Let's be
Oh, that
honest.
definitely was.
It was definitely, to me. I knew you. 'Cause I saw you over there, and I know you grabbed the trash can because I thought I was gonna have like one of those out of body experiences because whatever the hell hot sauce it was trying to kill me. At least it
I
felt
think
like.
once you got to that point, I think all of them were trying to kill all of you guys.
Oh
Except
god,
for a couple of them, they handled it with no problem. And I'm just like, your eat tolerances. I wish I had that. I can't do hot sauce.
and honestly, Ellie, I can't do them either. But for the content, I will do anything for the content. That's my personal thing. And we did. And I mean, it was supposed to be the 5 stages of hell. It turned into the 8 stages of hell because James Anito, a good friend of mine, decided to bring 3 of them. They made the other 5, well, except for the Kraken one. The Kraken was ridiculous. And I tried to keep it together because they wanted me to ask questions. And I know you were sitting there laughing your ass off. And I know that we had a lot of spectators watching us do this insane challenge because you know what, it was at the right time of day. People were like winding down, getting ready to pack up their stuff and go, and all of a sudden here we are. We get the hot sauces out, and I tried to take it seriously. I tried to ask real questions. Yeah, Jason, you wish you were there because you would have been laughing so hard it was ridiculous. And I remember trying to ask real questions, and then after the 3rd hot sauce, and my eyes were crossing because the heat was so bad, I was lucky to get words out that sounded like English. And
And I'm pretty sure you said at one point, you know what, just talk amongst yourselves.
that's what I did. I think that was like the fifth one in, or something. I'm like you know what, just say something. But no, Morgan did an amazing job with the hot sauce.
Oh yeah, sure.
James's 10-year-old son knocked it out of the park. And then Candace Fetters, one of the Paraclausers, who wasn't even in the challenge, she was just sucking it down like I would eat regular mild salsa. And I was sitting there going, wow.
That's part of why I'm like laughing so hard, because I'm seeing her do it with no reaction. I'm looking at the rest of you guys reacting. I'm like, something's not adding up here. How are you not reacting? But it was awesome that she has that. Like, she's amazing. Like, her and her husband, both amazing people.
I didn't have a choice because the sauce was giving me all the reactions I needed, apparently. So it didn't make a difference for me one way or the other, you know. It's been an amazing evening, and so you're going to be at the Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention in September, correct?
Yes, I am, and I will also be at the VIP party taking photos there as well.
Oh, good. I might be wearing my Beetlejuice suit. You never know what the hell I'm going to do. I never know. I never know what I'm going to do until about, I don't know, 5 minutes before I start packing my shit before we head out the door. You know, and
so I'm going to make sure I have extra SD cards so I don't run out of any memory space or anything like that. Extra batteries.
Nope. This will be my second official event setting up a table. The Truth Seekers was my first one the setup looked really good, but the setup that I got coming up from Maine is going to be insane too. And I'm encouraging everybody to come by and hang out, shoot the shit, talk, take pictures, whatever. And anybody wants to be on the show, it'd be an amazing experience too. I am going to hit you with the same question that I ask everybody every single week, and you can do the best you want. I always ask for your Mount Rushmore of horror characters.
Definitely would have to have Mike Myers up there.
Michael Myers is number one, yeah.
Mike Myers, number one. Then I would have Leatherface.
Nice.
And then Jason.
Yeah.
And then Art the Clown.
Art the Clown. You're finally a person who actually gave Art some of his just due. He's one of my new favorites, honestly. And I can't wait for the fourth one to come out. That's going to be an amazing, amazing episode. So if anybody wants to reach out or check out some of your photos online or anywhere, do you have a site that they can come and check out your material?
I have the AbandonedAly photography on Facebook. I also have it on my personal Facebook, Alyson Jacobson. I have to update my Instagram, but I'm also on Instagram under AbandonedAly as well. And then I'm also on Michael Castro's Black Frame Society.
Oh, sweet. Michael Castro. He's a cool dude.
Yes, he is.
He is. I can't wait to talk to him later on before the convention. So before we get off the air, I want to thank you, Alyson, for coming on the show this evening and talking about your amazing work with your photography and your urban exploring and your Paranormal Investigators of New England group. And I wish everything goes forward amazingly for you. I would like to once again mention before I get off the air that tomorrow evening will be a remembrance show for our dearly departed friend Shane McLean there. His amazing photograph, 7:30 p.m., where you'll be seeing all of the members of the All Access Network, and his Wicked Wednesdays family, myself included. We miss him very much, and we can't wait to talk about him and talk about the amazing person that he was and the amazing light that he still is and guides us all moving forward, because he is a true being of light, and it's going to be an amazing time to be able to talk about him. So, Alyson, thank you very much for being on the show this evening. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Maine in September. And everybody, thank you very much for joining us this evening. This is Jeremy, Alyson. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you. Gwen, take us home.